And this is Top Shelf Fantasy Football, coming in with our first mock draft of the season. Here with Craig, Scotty, myself, Tom. We are going to go through a 12-team, 1 QB, 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, half-point PPR mock draft.
Don't forget the running backs.
Yeah, we got 2 running backs.
Mr. Running Back over there.
Yeah, well, I'll end up drafting about 8 of them, so.
Yeah, it's a mock draft.
It's a mock draft.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid the first commissioner put down a transaction limit on me. So anyway, here we go. We're going into the 2019 season. Scotty Milne has selfishly taken the 4th spot in the mock draft.
Just a test.
Yeah, just the test. Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley coming off the board. And Mr. Scott, you are on the clock.
All right, I think it's pretty obvious. Number 4, you take the last person out of the top 4 RBs. I will take Christian McCaffrey. And how the hell did he do that?
Well, he was taken second, so...
Yeah, I don't think that you'd be able to get Christian McCaffrey there, bud. Looks like...
Try again!
No, I think I'll take Alvin Kamara.
Hey,
all right.
Starting off
I've got
hot.
Melvin Gordon after that, Devontae Adams.
Interesting.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, the first receiver, Devontae
That's
Adams.
interesting.
All
I
right,
have
all right.
I have actually seen a lot of people taking Devontae Adams before DeAndre Hopkins, and I have a feeling it's probably because you have Devontae Adams really as the only main receiver we know of in Green Bay that is actually getting targets right now. You can look at Valdez-Scantling and Allison and be like, well, which one's going to be the number 2?
Same round, too.
Well, yeah, there's plenty others, and then you actually look at Houston, and he's competing for targets with Kiki QT and DeAndre Hopkins. That being said, I love the fact that Hopkins has Will Fuller, excuse me. DeAndre Hopkins has fallen to me. That's who I had in my mind, so that's what I'm taking.
Pick him.
Yeah, and David Johnson comes off the board, and now it is... oh, man. And now
Tom
I'm staring
Penny's turn.
at Le'Veon Bell directly in the face. So here's the thing, right? So I have Devontae behind Julio in my rankings. So looking at Julio, I feel like I can't pass him up here. But the case for Le'Veon Bell, right, is the running backs after him would be Joe Mixon, James Conner, and then, I don't know.
Dalvin Cook.
And then do you take the risk on Todd Gurley? So for a first-round pick,
Joe
one,
Mixon, no?
I question what the Jets are doing. So they sign Le'Veon Bell and then fire the GM who hired him. So I think there's a big question mark there. I'm going to go Julio Jones here. I think that's the pick.
All right, then Lev Bell goes right next.
And Tom is really hurting inside because he wanted him in for the
Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham to end the first round. Second round starts with Joe Mixon, James Conner, and Damian Williams.
All right, and so this is a good position, right? Because
Tom's
now,
pick again. Yep.
Yeah, so now it's Dalvin Cook coming back. So half-point PPR, 3 wide receivers. I did this last year where I went 3 wide receivers in the beginning of the draft, and I lucked out. But I won't make that same mistake again, and I will take another running back here, and I'm going to take Dalvin Cook. I believe Dalvin Cook was going to be the running back he was drafted to be. And then Travis Kelce comes off the board, and
which we're seeing that a lot lately.
That's crazy.
Beautiful.
You're right.
He's been going like late first round, early second round, like second round pick 1. He's going even in expert drafts. I mean, this is an expert draft, so. I just don't like taking a tight end that early because you have to really do good in your rest of your draft to hit on all those guys.
Well,
it's tough to come out of the first 2 rounds without a running back and a wide receiver. I mean, it is really tough when you're looking for your wide receiver 1 and your RB1.
I mean,
in the 3rd round of the draft.
We've seen it plenty of times. It's the Gronk effect. It's just a guy with a different name. I mean, you had Gronk in the second round for years. I mean, how many of those times did those teams actually amount to anything later on?
We had a guy in our league last year who drafted Kelce and Gronk second and third round. And,
yeah, that's a big mistake. Well, anyway, I'm up on the clock
he made
right
the finals.
now, so I just want to make sure that I get this pick off before we expire. Perfect player fell to me. He's my number 4 receiver. I have in the past gone with double wide receivers in the first and second round. and loving it. Loving it how it's working. Not a big running back guy. I've gotten bit by David Johnson and Lev Bell in the past. Not doing it again. I'm going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster with my second pick. After that, there goes the big old Todd Gurley. Mike Evans follows, and Scotty Bisker on the clock.
So I want to just real quick, why not take the shot on Todd Gurley there?
Well, I have actually just taken him completely off my boards. I'm not dealing with it. I really don't want to have to deal with Todd Gurley. Like I said, I've been bitten in the past with David Johnson and Lev Bell, almost back-to-back years, or actually it was back-to-back years. So I'm not going in on Todd Gurley with an arthritic knee and have to deal with a whole other season of a top-tier running back screwing me over. Not doing it.
All right, so that pick before me, it was so Craig went Smith-Schuster, then Todd Gurley was after Craig, and then Mike Evans. I really wanted Mike Evans there over Antonio Brown. I was surprised that this mock draft picked him before Antonio Brown. But at this point, I'm going to have to take Antonio Brown because after that, it's a pretty good tier, but I think he's the last receiver in that top tier. So I'm going to take Antonio Brown.
Absolutely agreed on that point. There's really not much else after that.
And then we go Nick Chubb, Devontae Freeman, Aaron Jones, T.Y. Hilton, Leonard Fournette, Derrick Henry, and we are back to Scotty.
So a lot of running backs just came off the board. I was hoping at least one of those guys would follow me. They did not, so
two teams right before you, I don't know if you've noticed, have all gone running back.
yeah, so team 2 and 3 have been 3 RBs in a row.
Those are my prodigies.
Surprisingly, Devonta Freeman.
And surprising that it's not Tom's pick.
Yeah.
So right now, there's a lot of RBs on the board. There's a lot of QBs on the board, which I will never take this early. Tight ends either. This is a tough. This is
So
a doozy.
can I help you with a pick here?
I mean, I'm not
You're
gonna
looking
listen
at
to you, but
looking at Marlon Mack as my highest ranked running back.
Oh,
on
gee,
the
Tom
board
recommended
right
a
now.
running back.
Well, you're talking about going to take a running back. Are you looking elsewhere?
Yeah, I am.
I'm
going to.
going to say, if you wanted any other opinions, I'm looking at a lot of wide receivers, and I already have 2 on my team.
All right, I'm going to pick my pick now. As AJ Green.
AJ Green, Adam Thielen, Marlon Mack come off the board. Craig, you are up, sir.
So I took Green
All right.
over Thielen there, just real quick. I know he's coming off of an injury, but Thielen ended the year last year, the second half of the year, as wide receiver 19, I believe. He started off wide receiver 1 for the first half, and he really dipped after that. So I'm not that big on Thielen this year. He's going to be great, but not as good as people think he's going to be.
Well, I think last year's dip was definitely alarming. I do feel that they may have found a way to fix a little bit of their offense with a little more running game. Him in the slot, I feel pretty good about going forward. I know that you're not going to see him as like a wide receiver 1, top tier guy, but I feel a little bit more comfortable, and I feel like maybe you do. AJ Green, I had him in the past, also burned by the foot injury. The foot injury seems to be a pretty repetitive thing with a lot of top receivers, and personally, just not going for it. I know it sounds like I'm very, against injury riddled players, but if you've seen my drafts in the past, then you know I'm not, and I think I've learned a little bit of a lesson out there. So I'm up on the clock after you did go Marlon Mack. He was definitely a running back that I was thinking of. I already have Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster on my team. This is not the area where I'm going to go risk with Amari Cooper, even though for whatever reason, again, I've fallen in love with him. New team, have to like Dallas, have to like Dak. But at this point, I do need a running back. For me, it's in between Josh Jacobs and Kerryon Johnson. I got a rookie here and then a guy that's a sophomore. I think that Josh Jacobs is going to have more opportunity. However, I'm going to have to go with Kerryon Johnson because Kerryon Johnson is going to make his way into the RB1 status this year, and he'll stay there for the next 5 years.
So I agree. Love me some carry on.
And Tom hates that you took him there.
Not,
That was his next
not
pick.
not happy, but what I will say is you let Keenan Allen fall in the third round. So
I already had 2 wideouts.
I'm gonna go and take Keenan Allen.
So Patrick Mahomes went right after Craig. So the first could be off the board.
Right.
Round 3, which is what's happening. So.
Yeah, middle third.
Right. So
not bad.
So trend seems to be that Pat Mahomes is going right around this area. If it's not the back end of the third, it's the beginning of the fourth. Which, don't do it, because you could have taken a player like Keenan Allen. So I mean,
Yeah.
let's just put that into perspective.
Or anyone else.
or literally anyone.
Well, if you
Take
if you,
Amari
Cooper.
yeah, if you hadn't noticed, this team is also the one that took a tight end before that. So this team is definitely not paying much attention to what's going on.
So just
out there.
those of you listening at home, just understand that people are looking at Pat Mahomes. We're still staring the Tyreek Hill suspension in the face of how many games is it going to be. It could be 4, it could be 8, it could be the whole season. The Chiefs could kick him to the curb. We don't know what's going to happen. I have my own feelings about Pat Mahomes. I'm not going to get into it here. Keenan Allen, number 1 target for one of the for Scotty's biggest man crush. Plug your little article right there. Keenan Allen's the guy, and don't be afraid when you're in this situation to go 3 wide receivers. So here's my thing is when you're looking at a player, depending on what your roster already looks like, if you're looking at a player that is bona fide going to get you more points week in and week out than any other position, take that player. I'm taking Keenan Allen. And Amari Cooper goes, Josh Jacobs goes, Zach Ertz goes. So we've now seen 2 tight ends in George Kittle goes, Julian Edelman, Stephon Diggs. Board comes back to me. So I'm now looking at, let's see. So we have Julio Jones, Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen. If we are looking at running backs, I have David Montgomery, Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay, Sony Michel, Chris Carson, Kenyon Drake. You look at some wide receivers, Brandon Cooks, Tyreek Hill, Kenny Golladay, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. So I'm going to take Cooper Kupp here, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to take Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in the Rams, for the Rams. You look at what that offense looked like with Cooper Kupp. You look at what that offense looked like without Cooper Kupp. They had Todd Gurley, and Todd Gurley remained a constant. But that receiving corps in Jared Goff's performance was drastically different with and without Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is the number 1 wide receiver on that team. You don't have your red zone scorer. You don't have your touchdown scorer in Todd Gurley. Cooper Kupp is the best receiver on the Rams. I'm taking Cooper Kupp.
But Tom, Brandon Cooks is a top 6 highest pay wide receiver in the league.
But Tom, Robert Woods is really, really good also.
Robert Woods was a top 10 wide receiver last season.
But Scotty and Craig, Cooper Kupp through 6 weeks was better than them both.
I went
with
Tom
6
right here.
touchdowns.
I have all 3 Rams ranked back to back to back in the rankings, mainly because I think you can take either one of the 3 and be completely fine with them as your wide receiver 2 or even as your wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
They're all going to put up numbers week in, week out. They're all pretty consistent, especially Kupp, Healthy, and Woods. So I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, the deal is you can't go wrong with any of them. You're absolutely going to be able to go right with every single one. You can say Kupp is going to be mid wide receiver 1. You can finish wide receiver 7, 8, whatever. Listen, every one of those 3 could finish top or middle of wide receiver 1, and I'm not going to argue on any of them. I'm up on my pick after Cooper Kupp went Phillip Lindsay, who actually would have been someone that I might have looked at. Not exactly a huge fan, but I only have Kerryon Johnson on my team right now, and I'm staring at running backs like David Montgomery, Mark Ingram, Sony Michel. Not something that I'm really looking at as far as consistency goes. One being a rookie, one new team, one being a sophomore with a knee injury. So I'm going to look back over at the wide receivers who, oh wait, what's that? One of the 3 Rams is still left on the board in Brandon Cooks. Oh, wait, and what's that? Another one, Robert Woods. If we're going to be all talking about Rams receivers, then I'm going to go and put my 2 cents in that I think Robert Woods is going to be the guy. I think that, he was a mainstay last year. I think he's going to be a mainstay this year. They move him around all over the field. He doesn't have much of an injury history, and if you saw, once he got a good quarterback in Goff, he took off. So I'm going to go with Robert Woods here.
Yeah, and after Robert Woods, we go David Montgomery and Mark Ingram. I think this is going to be the topic of discussion amongst most people about what do you do with the Rams receivers, because it's a crapshoot, right? It's you take one of them.
Well, it's a great crapshoot.
But at the same time,
Scotty, you got to go Brandon Cooks now.
I know, Scott.
I wanted
you gotta
Woods.
take
I
Brandon
wanted
Cooks.
Woods. To be honest.
I think that we have drafted both of these players in the positions that they are going to be most fantasy relevant for the Rams from the wide receiver position. I think that Brandon Cooks he's extremely talented, right? And he's going to get you fantasy points. But Robert Woods, like you
1,000 yards.
But Robert Woods, like you said, is going to move around on the field. Brandon Cooks is going to do one thing. He does it very well, and he will get you points.
Agreed.
But the Robert Woods moving around the balls, I think
Cooks is more inconsistent. He'll get those huge, long plays for TDs. Some weeks he'll just be 3 for 45.
Yeah,
Right.
Woods will get a lot more targets, and same with Cup. So, my pick now,
Brandon Cooks.
It's got to be Cooks.
While Tom is fixing his headset, we'll
Listen, first podcast,
Right.
something's going to happen.
That's gonna happen. Of course, it's gonna happen. So I'm looking at RBs now because I need an RB. I have 2 receivers, 1 RB, but not really in love with all the RBs left. So
That's where I was at.
right now, I'm gonna go wide receiver just because 2 teams in front of me have gone 3 RBs in a row, and I'm banking that they don't go an RB again. So I think I can have a good RB on the way back.
Smart. You guys
So-
you always want to look around to
Yeah.
see who is near you if you're around a
Exactly.
turn. You want to make sure that you're not, say those teams have tight ends already. You're looking the exact same thing that you just said there.
So right now I have 2 receivers left. I think they're in their own tier, and it's Brandon Cooks and Tyreek Mother effing Hill. Tyreek Hill's tough because I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I have 38 seconds to go. I'm going to pick Brandon Cooks because it's a sure bet.
Much better bet than Tyreek Hill, who has not played
All right,
yet.
so I will tell you right now, I'm completely shocked because after me, the team went Sony Michel for the 4th RB in a row, and the team after that went Chris Carson, 4th RB in a row.
And then after that,
and then Tyreek Hill, Kenny Galladay, and then that team went for their 5th RB in a row with Kenyon Drake, and then Andrew Luck. Now it's my turn.
5 out of 5 running backs.
It's my
Unreal.
prodigies.
How do you even justify this is their team while Scotty's thinking over his next pick. Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Freeman, Leonard Fournette, Chris Carson, Kenyon Drake. Sure, great running backs, dude. But what are you supposed to do when only 3 of them play a week? You have no other wide receivers, no anything else.
So this is tough because I don't love any of these RBs here. There's Darius Geis. I really don't like him at all this season. Tariq Cohen. I'm not a fan of the 3rd down backs. This is tough. I'm sweating. But I had to take an RB.
So,
it's also 95
can I?
degrees in here.
Yep. Go ahead, Tom.
Let me just jump in.
Oh,
here.
you back?
Lamar? Yeah, I'm back. Technical difficulties, but I'm back. So we're looking at the top, right? The Tariq Cohens, your 3 down backs, right? Your Tevin Coleman's, nobody knows what's going on there. James White, but Lamar Miller, who you know is going to be touching the ball. At some point, Deontay Foreman is going to take it, but you have guaranteed volume
But
to Lamar Miller.
you don't
Why
know.
wouldn't you look that way?
So I'm going to not listen to Tom at all, and I'm going to go James White. The RB9, he finished RB9 last season in a half-point PPR, so he's pretty consistent. No Gronk, so he's going to get even more targets this season. So I think that's a good bet. James White is my RB2. Don't love it, but in the 5th round with 20,000 RBs taken in the first 3 picks, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I don't hate it. I don't really think that there was really much left out there that you knew that there was guaranteed volume.
It was a lot of, like, I was looking at Tevin Coleman, I was looking at Lamar Miller, but out of all those guys, I could be wrong. They could, like,
his 100 catches are 150 rushes. I mean, it's the same thing you're going to get with
right.
Tevin Coleman, which is exactly why I'm looking at Tariq Cohen right now. And I only have one running back on my roster, and that's Kerryon Johnson. And that's definitely someone who I feel confident in, yet hasn't proven or shown it yet. So I'm not really sure I'm comfortable walking away from this pick here without another running back. There's plenty of wide receivers I love here. Tyler Lockett, Chris Godwin, Mike Williams, Sammy Watkins. Like, there's so many wide receivers to go around. But I need to walk away with a running back. I think that Tariq Cohen might be getting more carries this year than I think a lot of people have pegged him for. He had 100 last year. They traded away Jordan Howard. Yeah, they drafted David Montgomery. Yeah, they signed another running back in Mike Davis. But with the way that they have everything set up and going, I think that they really have a lot of confidence in Cohen. So I'm going to go with him with the receptions. I'm hoping for maybe 20 more carries this year.
So you take Tariq Cohen, Tyler Lockett goes, and I'll be completely honest, there is no running back on the board right now that I find valuable to be considering here. So I have one running back as well. I've looked at Lamar Miller. My issue was, and this was the argument I was hoping Scotty made, but he ended up going wide running back, is there's still a lot of value, I feel, at wide receiver. And we have a 2-flex league.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I feel like this point on with
You're not
receivers, it's very, very deep. So I think you should take you can take an RB now, even though you won't love it. You'll still get a good wide receiver on your way back.
Right. So so here's my thought process right now. So I'm looking at Jordan Howard on the board. Jordan Howard, I do not think is going to get picked back to me. I think that Jordan Howard is going to represent the same amount of value as any of the running backs that are currently on the board. But I think that I could get more value from a guy like Chris Godwin or Mike Williams or Sammy Watkins or Jarvis Landry or Tyler Boyd than I could with a Jordan Howard or a Lamar Miller.
Hey, it's your prerogative, but can I offer some advice?
Sure.
Top shelf, baby.
The fact that you didn't get me one is aggravating.
You do have a point. However, I am your younger brother, so I think that I should get a pass.
So Mike Williams, all of his touchdowns last year. I think that is going to be my pick here. Thank you.
Scotty with the beer.
We go Darius Geis, Sammy Watkins, Calvin Ridley, Jarvis Landry, Chris Godwin, Tevin Coleman, and what do you know? So I'm looking again at Jordan Howard, and that's going to be my selection here. So the Eagles didn't bring Jordan Howard in not to use him. Yes, they drafted Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has not practiced, has not played, and Doug Peterson isn't known as a guy to really spread the ball around at the running back position. But if there's any one guy on the team that can pound the ball in from the 5-yard line, in my opinion, it is Jordan Howard.
The young LeGarrette Blount.
The young LeGarrette Blount. Hey, listen, I'll take LeGarrette Blount scored 17 touchdowns over here. So.
He sure did.
So I will take 17 touchdowns in round 6. And how you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not getting 17 touchdowns.
Right. And then Alshon Jeffrey rant, and now it's Craig's turn.
Hey, that was a great play. I never saw it, but just wanted to throw that out there.
What?
Rent. All right, didn't catch the reference, but we're back up, and I have 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs. That's really where I want to be at around pick 6. I can kind of go any which way I want. The only tight ends left that I even would remotely think is worth taking are O.J. Howard and Hunter Henry. I actually have... Oh, excuse me, Evan Ingram's here, too. There's plenty of tight ends. I'm not going to go for there. Definitely, especially not one at 6. We have a lot of wide receivers left. That's where I've been leaning in this draft. I see running backs of Lamar Miller with the consistency. Rashard Penny with high upside. Lat Murray, that's probably going to get some touchdowns this year in the Mark Ingram role. I'm going to go with one of the guys that I am feeling really good about this year, who is probably going to get somewhere around 80 catches, definitely 1,000 yards. He's definitely not going to be a disappointment at all. I want to give everyone confidence in drafting this player. The main target for this team in Carolina has left. He was the first wide receiver taken in the 2018 NFL draft. DJ Moore is my pick here, and like I said, confidence in 80 catches, 1,000 yards.
O.J. Howard, Tyler Boyd off the board, and Scotty, we are back to you. I would imagine you're struggling between the decision of running back or wide receiver here.
Yes, like always. I still see Lamar Miller's there. I know you talked about him two rounds ago.
I may have been wrong on the Lamar Miller.
And he is still there. Still probably not going to reach for that guy. But,
I mean, somebody has to run the ball in Houston. And
Well,
it's
yes.
it Deontay Foreman or is it Lamar Miller? And in my opinion, I passed on Lamar Miller, right?
I also pass on Lamar Miller.
Right. But it's a serious question of when do you take him, right? When do you take upside, and when do you just take
him?
When do you take the Frank Gore of the world? You know, I mean, that's kind of what Lamar Miller's turning.
Oh, he's
into.
absolutely.
You
gonna
take
be turned-
Lamar Miller
turned into
before you
Frank
take
Gore.
Jordan Howard, in my mind.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I disagree.
You're absolutely going to
Jordan
see
Howard, there's so many weapons there.
Yeah,
Rookie RB.
I mean,
Josh
they had
Adams
another.
still there.
But Josh Adams almost got cut, so let's.
He probably will be good.
Well, I mean-
but still.
So let's be real here.
Who else is there?
Well, I
Who-
the
who
other
can-
man.
who can run the ball.
Yeah, I guess we
Clement
can run the
there
ball.
still.
Clement, yeah.
If
he's still
they
there.
were confident in Corey Clement, they wouldn't have traded for Jordan Howard.
and
Let's put this into perspective. They traded for Jordan Howard before they drafted Miles Sanders.
yeah,
The
it's-
Bears
so that-
signed Mike Davis before they drafted.
yeah, they didn't
Yeah,
re-sign.
yeah, and that's fine. So that should
Jay
tell you
Ajayi.
what they feel about their backfield,
Oh, yeah.
right? The Eagles did not feel confident in their backfield with the way that it was. They felt they had to make a move. They didn't know what was going to happen in the
All right,
draft.
so my pick, because besides Lamar Miller, almost everyone here is a backup, and everyone in front of me is taking RBs like crazy. I'm going to take Lamar Miller as my third RB.
Well, I mean, it had to happen. I was gonna say I don't think it would
He
have.
would have fallen.
So all right. Can I just need to level set this draft right now. So the number 2 pick of our draft has 5 running backs, a quarterback, and a tight end.
You just saw who's done about this the entire time.
Apparently,
No, I know. I
No,
need to
but
level
for the
set it.
fact that he still has not drafted a wide
he
receiver,
had
is
2
baffling.
picks
Which
until
I'm
we
lying,
are
'cause
now
wide receivers are
and
deep.
didn't take a wide receiver.
All right, so after Lamar Miller went Hunter Henry, Baker Mayfield, Ebron, Matt Ryan, Evan Ingram, and Robbie Anderson.
We should have just seen how far Lamar Miller could have dropped because apparently no other running back was taken after him.
So right now I'm
You
still
could've-
kind of RB hungry, but
He's hungry.
there's a lot of good wide receivers left, and this is tough because I want like the next 5 receivers in a row.
I want every receiver.
Just as I'm going to write about him in the coming days when we're going to release our bounce back candidates article, I'm going to draft Allen Robinson, Chicago Bears. I think he's going to have a good year in his second year of the offense. Tom's shaking his head; he doesn't agree. But I know there's a lot of mouths to feed there and everything, blah blah blah. But I think he's going to have a good year, and as my wide receiver 4. If he doesn't, then if he has the same year as last year, it's a pretty good pick. I'll take it.
As a wide receiver 4, Allen Robinson is the wide receiver 4 you would want to have. And we start 2 flexes, right? So you are going to be starting Allen Robinson where somebody's pick was Darrell Henderson. So Darrell Henderson, just real quick, was a guy I was kind of hoping to pick in this round. Because if anything does happen to Todd Gurley...
7th round, still amazing to me.
Malcolm
He's the
Brown.
3rd string.
He is going to be...
Malcolm Brown.
Oh, boy.
Darrell Henderson, yes. They have said that he's probably going to get some receiving work.
If they felt good, Malcolm
Craig,
Brown, why did they
if Todd
draft
Gurley
Darrell
ever went...
Henderson?
Well, Tom,
Wait.
they matched an offer for Malcolm
Yeah.
Brown.
Okay,
They
thank
matched
you.
it. They want
All right.
to they want to keep this guy.
Let's
but
talk about this.
I'm with Tom real quick. God forbid Todd Gurley goes down week 1, torn ACL. Henderson is the guy, but we all thought last year if Todd Gurley goes down, you want to have John Kelly on your team, and Tom picked him
Incorrect.
up 25 single times.
No. John
And that was
Kelly
wrong.
who? John Kelly who? He was sitting
That's
on...
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
They drafted John Kelly last year, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's got to be your last pick of the draft. He's gonna be a workhorse if Gurley gets hurt." And
Yeah,
he
turns
didn't touch
out
the field.
the veteran in Malcolm Brown, who
And
again is
C.J.
still...
Anderson, when Malcolm Brown went down for the year, they drafted they picked up a guy that
brought
was
in another guy.
272 pounds for God's sake.
So John Kelly's out of the question. We know that. I think that there's little confidence in another rookie running back. Granted, he does have great receiving hands. I think that's going to be something that he is going to have for the team. He will have value. I'm not saying Darrell Henderson will not have value
45
if in
seconds.
case Todd Gurley goes down. No, I already know my pick. I just wanted to kind of get over this because I
jumped
can't.
you jumped to your pick, and then I have a point to make.
I
jumped
just
to your pick,
can't
and then I have a point
believe
to
that
make.
Darrell Henderson is going so much higher over Malcolm Brown, who's going to be able to get the 1s and 2s. You already have plenty of people who can catch the ball.
Not even Malcolm Brown.
Oh, I hope
Any
you get
other
auto-picked.
player out right now.
All right, so yeah, I do have 23 seconds, so let's just get my pick in before we get going. I have 2 running backs. I need another one. I already love my wide receiver core. There's plenty more wide receivers that I'd love to take. Christian Kirk is a big guy, a guy I'm huge on this year. But I need a guy that will probably get, I don't know, maybe 5 to 8 touchdowns. Where they're going to be, when they're going to be, no idea. But it's going to be something that you can kind of game plan. Mark Ingram thrived in the role last year, so I'm going to go with Lat Murray, who has had a lot of success in the past with multiple teams. I don't think he's slowing down yet. I'm confident. I'm going to go Lat Murray. He can, fill in whenever I need him to. So go ahead with your little Darrell Henderson.
He
take
runs
there,
too
Tom.
straight up.
So here's my thing. So you said they had very little confidence last year in a rookie, right? And that's why John Kelly and those
6th
guys
round
didn't
pick,
get
though.
the job right? So they didn't have confidence in him, right? How long was he on the team for when they picked up C.J. Anderson off the couch
Less
and
than a
started him immediately? So here's the
Because
thing,
he's
right?
a veteran.
He hadn't played in the NFL for how long?
Who? CJ?
C.J. Anderson? He was in the NFL.
He was on 2 teams.
He was not playing when the time that the Rams picked him
No,
up.
he was not playing,
No,
but
he
was
got cut by 2 teams.
Yeah.
Right. He
That
got cut
year.
by 2 teams.
He played
He
with the
wasn't
Panthers,
playing for anybody at the time. They brought him in and started him, where this rookie had plenty of time in the offense to prove that he understood what was going on. So I don't think it was the lack of trust in the rookie. I think it was he just isn't that good.
Well, he was
And
a
he's
pretty
still
big
on the
guy.
team, so to assume that he can't be usurped again is foolish.
Well, John Kelly is absolutely going to be usurped. That guy's going to get cut. But Malcolm Brown is the guy that they made sure they kept. How many times have you seen in the NFL?
So then here's the other point, right? Is that if they lost faith in John Kelly so quickly to go to C.J. Anderson, a guy who had been cut by 2 other NFL teams, what makes you think that they won't lose faith in Malcolm Brown as quick with Darrell Henderson?
Because he was
Well-
hurt then.
Tom,
I don't.
they picked up C.J. Anderson because Malcolm Brown went down for the year. When Todd Gurley was hurt, they turned to Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Braun got hurt for the entire year. They're like, oh, John Kelly? No, we'll go sign C.J. Anderson. He's eating pizza. Let's go get him.
Well, let's go with this. I can see both
They
sides.
quickly made a decision on a guy who hadn't been in their system, and that is my point. My point is that I think that Darrell Henderson, that is an important
he's a
piece
third
to be getting around.
You don't pay a third-round pick for a guy you're not going to use.
Absolutely. I can
Tom,
agree.
14 seconds.
Yeah, I
Let
get
Tom
a
pick.
very short amount of time here. I'm gonna probably make
After
a pretty
Latavius
knee-jerk.
Murray, it was Ronald Jones, and then Tom's picking now. 5, 4,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
So here's what-
Tom pick.
Yeah, so I went Dante Pettis.
I love the pick. Love the pick.
We're talking about I have to start 2 flexes, right? And I already have my
That's
2
your
running
fifth
backs.
receiver?
That's my 5th wide receiver. I'm okay with the 2 running backs I have. I don't love them. I would love that at some point I can make a deal to change it, but I do love Mike Williams and Dante Pettis. Hey, Tully, I will be calling you. I have Mike Williams and Dante Pettis as my flex players. I do like that. We are off the Rams running back discussion. I'm now looking at the board again. I am at pick 8 overall. I do not have a tight end. I am actually going to go and draft a tight end right now. I'm going to go do a little square dancing, and I'm going to take advanced dance.
All right, so
Oh,
let's just start here.
one pick.
After Tom took Dante Pettis, it went Will Fuller, then Drew Brees, Carson Wentz, Miles Sanders, Jared Cook, Russell Wilson, and then Tom picked Vance McDonald. Tom, why'd you pick him so early?
So I don't think this is early. I think this is
So what? So he's a tight end. Let's see.
he's a top 10 tight end in my opinion, top 12 tight end.
I could say that about any tight end in the league right now. Outside of the top
So you
3.
picked him as tight end 9. I guess
I mean, so
I agree with that. I think it's a top 10. He finished as tight end 10 last season.
right.
I think he's definitely going to get it. There's targets to be held or
no,
go
it's
around.
really Brown.
there's touchdowns to be had.
There's
I
definitely
mean, and
touchdowns to be had.
that's the biggest attraction in my opinion with Vance McDonald is there's touchdowns.
And targets. I mean, you got to find a way to fill the 140 targets that Antonio Brown gets every year.
Right.
I'm sure it's going to go to James Washington or Dante Moncrief too, but Vance McDonald, he's been in the system. Big Ben loves him, so
And
that's a good pick.
He loves the movie Avengers, so he's just going to watch that every week. I don't know if you heard the report last year. He watched the movie Avengers, and that's where that big old stiff arm came from mid-year last year.
Well,
and Vance McDonald
Avengers
was born.
is now over, so that's a bad pick, Tom.
So Endgame, Vance McDonald Endgame.
All right, so after Vance McDonald went Christian Kirk,
Yes.
and now it's Craig's turn.
So that was actually a receiver that I was looking at last round. Too much Rams talk, but I really like Christian Kirk this year. Think that he's going to be the number 1 receiver over in Arizona. It's too bad I couldn't get him. Looking at other wide receivers, I'm not really high on any other ones. I think maybe Marvin Jones. He would definitely be a bounce back candidate. He didn't really get too much playtime last year due to injury. Kenny Golladay is the hot name there, but I think you're going to be able to get fantasy points from Marvin Jones as well. Not something that I want to do in the 8th round. I'm still not too happy about my running backs, Kerryon Johnson, Tariq Cohen, Lat Murray. They're good names, but nothing too crazy. So I'm going to go with some high upside here. Player last year talked about all preseason, and then for whatever reason, some 5'8", 190-pound Denver native stood up and said, listen, I'm going to be the running back, and took over. But again, he's 5'8", 190, started to have a little bit of an injury last year. Royce Freeman, 6 foot 230, definitely a durable running back. Talked about all last preseason was talent, and Royce Freeman.
Pick him quick.
So I'm going to take Royce Freeman. Oh, don't you worry. I got that time.
All right, so that killed me because my next pick was going to be Royce Freeman for that exact point. I think he could be one of the biggest steals in this year's draft. Philip Lindsay had a great rookie year, but if you look at Royce Freeman's stats per game, per carry, they're pretty good. He missed some games. Lindsay had a great season. He could finish as a top 20 RB.
Absolutely. That's if Phil
Lindsay
Lindsay
gets
gets hurt.
hurt.
I mean,
Yes, then
Lindsay's definitely going to get time. That's definitely
he has
something you
the
didn't see last
ability
year.
and the skill to finish top 20.
Yeah.
Royce Freeman's talent and what he can do on the field is top 20
Absolutely.
talent and ability.
I mean,
It's not that it's not that Philip Lindsay is better than Royce Freeman. In my opinion, it was Philip Lindsay was the first one to show that he could do something on the field, and that moronic coaching staff was like, "Oh yeah, okay, go with it." Because you saw Devontae Booker still get in the picture, and
Yeah,
he's
I don't know
terrible.
how he's the,
at the end of
And
the
he's
year,
terrible.
End of
so,
year-
so I think you're going to see some sort of transition. Royce Freeman was drafted to be a starting running back. Philip Lindsay wasn't.
and new coaching staff. So we have maybe a new little shine of the light
Problem
there.
is, you got Joe Flacco, so
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. He's not
so that's good for
so they'll run
it's
the ball
great for the
a lot
RBs.
more. Right.
great for the RBs.
So right now I'm up. I need kind of everything, but this is tough. I want to run him back really bad, but Royce Freeman went. That killed me.
What do you think about tight ends right now? Any left?
At this point, with all the tight ends that were taken, I'm going to wait probably until the last round.
Yeah.
To get tight end.
So,
I'm
so
about-
do
I'm
you-
around
would
that
you
area.
would you be willing to take a risk on a Jerick McKinnon here, or are you
I was-
sold 100% that Tevin Coleman's a starter?
I was
There's no starter
pretty
in
risk-
San Francisco.
Right, and this is the Rams wide receiver discussion, right?
It's exactly that.
So this
Matt
is
Breida. Let's go.
this is
Well, hey, let me make my pick first. Look at that up real quick, and then I'll. So right now,
so I actually
Oh, it's paused.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So because I think this is an important thing to talk about real quick, and I'd like to Matt Breida proved that he can be productive in Shanahan's offense. Tevin Coleman did not prove that he can be productive really in any offense without Kyle Shanahan. And Jerick McKinnon has done nothing but get hurt. So where do you go? Because all three running backs are extremely talented.
so when they signed McKinnon last year, it was the most expensive RB signing of the year. He had a great season with the Vikings, but he was behind Latavius. He's a different back. He's a third down back. When they signed him as, he's our bell cow, he's going to be our top back, I'm like, that's ridiculous. He's not built to be a third down back in any means. He had the chance years ago, but they gave the lead back to Matt Asiata for 2 years in a row when AP was out. Matt Asiata. Goddamn, Jordan Howard could have done that. But the fact that
I love that we're back.
I like that he digged at Jordan Howard.
the fact
Yes.
that McKinnon
All
has
right.
always been behind even a crap RB like Asiata,
Calling Jordan Howard
there is
crap.
no way that I don't think Tevin Coleman is a great every down back. We saw it last year. He got the keys handed to him when Freeman went out week 3 for the season, week 4.
Well,
and-
yeah. So I mean, so it was Ito Smith. It was Tevin Coleman. There was another one in there at one point.
Well, Tevin Coleman, yeah,
But this goes to prove your point that the keys were handed to Tevin Coleman and he couldn't handle it, and they had to
he
bring
still
somebody
played
else
every
back
week,
in.
and I was like, oh, I had him in Dynasty. I'm like, oh, sweet, I got him for cheap.
Oh, everyone
He's gonna
was
be an
so
RB2 for me.
pumped last
And
year
he
with
had-
Tevin Coleman when that happened.
If he didn't get a touchdown, he was like a 15 for 50 yards.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
kind of happy with that. Like, our flex kind of sucks, but fact that I think McKinnon, he's a good handcuff if you pick Coleman. If it's late in a draft and he's still there, yeah, grab him. But Breida's not going away. Breida only missed 1 game last season. When he was hurt every single week, he missed 1 game. And he did pretty good.
Oh,
He played pretty
He
well.
would come in the first half, get a 70-yard touchdown, and just sit the rest of the game.
Yeah,
He was
but then
basically
come
just
back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and do
come
the
back
same
in the
thing.
fourth quarter and solve it. Matt Breida
so-
is definitely one of those
McKinnon-
tough
and,
guys
and Matt
out there.
Breida is definitely tough as nails. So that's why I think this is a very interesting discussion.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the Rams wide receivers. We talk about now the 49ers running backs and who's it going to be. So I am going to unpause this draft, and
right.
you've got about 30 seconds to make a pick.
Sounds good.
You have 3
So
minutes.
in-
I'll make it
a
fast.
pick.
So I guess then, in other words, McKinnon and Coleman, such high risk, no matter where they're going to be drafted throughout this.
So
draft.
this is
I-
tough because
I
all these
think-
RBs I don't love. But I'm going to go to a guy that's a backup, but he's very reliable all the time, even when Melvin Gordon plays every game. I'm picking Austin Eckler, especially in a half PPR. Let's go.
Yep. He absolutely got the
Yeah, so-
receiving yards whenever Gordon felt like taking a breath, which all running backs need to do.
And I think if Gordon goes down, it's just not going to be Austin Eckler. It's going to be Justin Jackson. Austin Eckler's, I think, he's like Naheem Himes for the
Sure.
Colts.
Right.
He's not gonna be the lead back, but
see
he's going to
this.
always have a role no matter what.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon goes down, he's going to have a bigger role, but he won't be a lead back, which is fine. But for half PPR,
He's gonna catch balls. He's gonna be
Yeah.
involved. I mean, Melvin Gordon. I was a big Melvin Gordon guy coming out of college. Melvin Gordon's efficiency numbers are not great. Melvin Gordon really relies a lot on touchdowns. I think Austin Eckler provides more of a spark than Melvin Gordon does. And then after Austin Eckler, we see DK Metcalf go, Geronimo Allison, Larry Fitzgerald, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt. Somebody,
I'm going to
pause this real quick.
Yeah, I almost picked Kareem Hunt there. It was between him, McCoy, or Eckler, and I picked Eckler.
Okay, so and it's interesting. I would have taken Kareem Hunt there. So my reasoning is I would suck it up for a little while. My running backs would be terrible, but you have arguably a top 5 running back in Kareem Hunt in week 8.
But look at the RBs I have now. I need to get
right.
guys.
No, and I know I know your
mine are
roster
pretty weak.
construction.
I mean,
but I'm saying in round 8, if you are faced with the decision of Austin Eckler or Kareem Hunt, is it strictly roster construction, or can you make the argument that Kareem Hunt is more important for a playoff championship run than Austin Eckler is?
Not necessarily. I mean, you're going to be looking at
Nick Chubb.
in the same way
So-
that
so,
you look
okay.
at Melvin Gordon.
That's why I don't love Nick Chubb that early because we don't know.
Right.
We don't
Exactly.
And I
Well,
love
and
Nick
we
Chubb.
Definitely
I love
know.
Nick
I
Chubb.
don't-
We know
I
Kareem
don't-
Hunt's a better talent than Nick Chubb. We know that.
Right,
I mean,
and that's why I
we
don't
do,
think
but-
that Nick Chubb is going to be a thing in the back half of the season.
Well, not that he's not going to be a thing, but I think that Cleveland's very smart in the fact that, listen, we have 2 great running backs to go off of. I think they're going to be able to take a breath and do a series here and there, and they're never going to have a problem.
All right, so we'll continue this.
I think
little
both will
thing
be
real
relevant
quick,
when-
but
When both are
it's my
active.
pick again, and as much as I don't love it, I'm going to probably pick the last RB with the starting job, and that's LaShawn McCoy. I think at this round, with the RBs I have, it's a fine risk.
Oh, a starting running back in the 9th round.
Just FYI, that is a lie. Peyton Barber is still there, so
All right, so I owe a drink.
Wait,
I'm so sorry. He was so far down my board. I'm so sorry.
this is not an advocation for Peyton Barber. I'm just saying that.
All right. I owe you one. Is it bad that he's that far down? Oh, my God.
I mean, we're looking at Ito Smith, Jerick McKinnon, Carlos Hyde, Jalen Samuels.
I mean, people
Deontay
are drafting
Foreman.
that Ronald Jones is a starter, and he's already gone, right?
Well, I find it hilarious because what do people think that's going to happen? Like, all of a sudden, a new head coach like Bruce Arians is going to come in, and Ronald Jones is all of a sudden going to be what he wasn't last year, like the polar opposite of what he wasn't last year. He couldn't do a thing on the field,
And
couldn't do a thing.
didn't the coach say we don't have RB like Gurley,
Yes.
Or
No,
Bell.
it was literally just in the last 2
but
days.
we
they
don't
just said
need that.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't
need
need a good running back. Is pretty much what he said.
that. Yes,
Which is fine.
he said we don't need a
Toss
David
that shit
Johnson
around.
to win.
But when Ronald Jones is getting drafted in the 7th round ahead of the Dante Pettis's, Will Fuller's, the Drew...
Is that
well,
how early he went?
the Miles Sanders,
Yep.
the Christian Kirks, the Royce Freemans. So in here, that, I mean,
Listen,
to me,
everyone.
that's a big
You
one.
take
to
the
me,
risk-
that's a big one.
You take
You
not
go-
even, Royce Freeman's not even a risk, but you take him before Ronald Jones because you know
Absolutely.
his talent. You know when he was drafted before Philip Lindsay. Even if Lindsay is a starter, Freeman's going to have a role. You know that. Peyton Barber barely touched the field last year.
Ronald Jones. Peyton Barber touched the field
And
a
I'm
lot
sorry,
last
I
year.
owe Tom
Just
another drink.
just to go back 5
How you
years.
doing, babe?
5 years, okay?
Another treehouse.
All right,
It
hold on.
doesn't
Wait.
matter the coach.
Craig, just pause real quick. Can Tom pick his pick real quick and then...
No, it's actually Craig's pick.
It's actually
Oh,
my pick.
so Craig, pick your
I,
pick and then you can...
Well, I mean, it's at a pause right now. I already know what I'm doing. I got about 3 minutes, is it?
All right,
All right, now go.
You're
Yeah,
good,
I mean,
go.
that's the
Sorry,
the lovely
we-
thing of sleeper here.
We end up having these discussions. I want to pause it so we can. I didn't realize I could do that before. So anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, listen, all I'm just saying is everyone beware. Tampa Bay running backs have not been relevant for a very long time. Regardless of the actual running back or the coach, they're not relevant. I've tried my whole fantasy football career to take a Tampa Bay running back, and never has it really worked out for me.
So you never had Doug Martin?
Well, I was just about to tell a story
Yeah,
about Doug Martin.
I was gonna say. I feel like what you just said was a lie.
Yeah.
Well,
his rookie season.
there's a 3-year running joke in a league that I'm in. My team's name is Dougie Doug. I have a problem with Doug Martin, where I have taken him every year that he's been bad, and
Doug
not
Martin
taken
has-
him every year that he's been good.
Doug Martin has a home now.
Doug Martin does not have a home now. Josh Jacobs has stolen that from him. That cardboard box has now been Zoggy.
He's stolen from like before
What's
because
that?
Crowell went down for the year, and like, gosh, crap. Let's just sign Doug Martin. Hey, $200K for a day? Yeah, sure.
So, speaking of starting running backs, there is still one out there that, listen, get it. Everyone loves Darius Geis. But you know what? I'm going to go with the
He promised 2,000 yards rushing this season. Promised.
Darius Geis promised this.
No,
No,
this
AP
guy
did.
that you're playing.
Nope.
Yeah.
Don't give it away.
Oh no, the suspension's gone.
Well,
There can only be one good.
if Adrian
Redskins running
Peterson
back.
gets 2,000 yards and all of you are drafting them in the 9th round, you win.
Won't happen. If he gets 1,000, then that's a great thing. Okay.
1,000 is what
But-
I'm looking for.
This is why I don't like Darius Gus. Is there's a player like AP still there that shows that he can still do it, and guys is coming off a horrific injury.
Yeah.
Where
And
he
he's-
had an
when he had an
infection.
infection.
Yes,
and,
an infection.
that's almost really the bigger thing,
Yeah.
right? So, like, I'm a big advocate for Cooper Kupp. Yeah, they had the same injury. They both tore their ACL, but Geis came off the injury, which means he got later on the rehab. Just to weigh my 2 cents in, Geis is like my stereotypical running back that I just fall in
I'm
love
sorry, but
with.
can you just make that like your 2 pennies in because that's your last name?
My 2 cents, my 2 pennies,
My 2 pennies.
my 2 pennies.
Your
All
two-
right,
yeah,
yeah, my
it's
2
like-
pennies.
yeah.
I'm gonna put my 2 pennies in here. Yeah, Darius Geis is my stereotypical running back. I don't think either Adrian Peterson or Darius Geis are going to have any sort of fantasy impact this year, and this may come back to shoot me in the foot because Adrian Peterson can
Well, who
easily
is gonna
go for
be-
800 yards. I think that's going to be such a bad offense that you are going to have guys that are not performing at a fantasy level because they're going to be splitting between Adrian Peterson and Darius Geis. This isn't a knock on any of that or any of those picks. I think Adrian Peterson in the 9th round is a very good pick. I'm just saying that I find it very hard for people to make that big of a round gap between Darius Geis and Adrian Peterson. So Darius Geis getting drafted in the 5th round, Adrian Peterson getting drafted in the 9th round. their overall numbers aren't going to be that different. Like, you're
Yeah.
getting a steal with Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I do want to point out, too, if Darius Geis does get over this knee injury, which we all hope he does, he's a talent. We've talked about him for over 2 years.
The NFL needs him to get over it, right?
So, Adrian Peterson, one of the best running backs in the league, is now going to be teaching this guy. If this guy gets healthy, watch out in the future. So, for all of you with Dynasty, Darius Geis might be someone that a lot of people are off of right now, low right now because of the injury. He's definitely someone that you would want to target because he's getting knowledge from one of the best running backs that's ever played.
Right, and that's a good point. We can see how that turns out. So I end up taking Curtis Samuel after Curtis Samuel, Golden Tate, Peyton Barber, Devontae Freeman. We're coming back down, and we see the string of quarterbacks go, which is kind of a kick in the sack here. So we go Phillip Rivers, Jared Goff, Cam Newton. Real quick, Curtis Samuel has been a staple for Cam Newton every time an injured receiver has gone down. Everybody's on DJ Moore.
Curtis Samuel is usually the one getting injured.
It will be interesting to see how the It'll be interesting to see how the Curtis Samuel DJ Moore split happens out.
So I'm with Tom. He's like a big sleeper pick of mine is Samuel because I think DJ Moore is great and everyone's looking at DJ Moore high draft pick. But Curtis Samuel was a first round pick 2 years ago. Second round.
Yep.
There were some.
Then I'm sorry. Second round pick, but
there was draft capital invested in Curtis
You
Samuel.
could argue that Curtis Samuel was going to have a better year than DJ Moore. And also, I want to talk about the QBs that went right before Tom's pick. It went Rivers, Goff, Newton. Rivers, of course, is my man crush of the year and the century. But the fact that Cam Newton fell that late is insane. He is a top 3 talent when healthy.
I don't think he's finished outside of the top 10 when he's played. I don't think he's finished outside the top 5 when he's played 16 games.
So something we were actually kind of jawing about before we even started this was Cam Newton
had a pretty good
after his shoulder surgery last time he was the MVP.
Right.
So
How you doing?
So it's actually shame on us for all of us passing on him because he and granted we do play a later quarterback strategy.
I think we passed him because we have the same exact strategy.
Right.
I mean the guy that
but he's the guy, man.
The person that picked Cam Newton picked Russell Wilson 2 rounds before that, which at that point I wouldn't pick Cam.
Well, this is when I get mad at Sleeper.
Yeah.
Yes, we are playing this on Sleeper, everyone. Great app.
Well, no, I'm not going to endorse them until they endorse us. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Cam Newton is a generational talent, right? And that's what is interesting is you see Cam Newton going late, and everybody's on the wait on the quarterback strategy. You can see, who we've come back with from wide receivers in the running back position. But when you just even isolate those 3 picks, really, of Phillip Rivers, Jared Goff, and Cam Newton's my number 1 out of those 3. And
easily.
Right. And so that's what I find really the most interesting is you have an isolation of 3 quarterbacks back to back to back, Cam Newton being the third one.
I would absolutely be happy
Tom,
with Tom,
you were next and you picked McKinnon.
Yeah, I took McKinnon. I think it's worth the risk here. So we're
in that round, yeah.
We're in the 10th round here. Again, you're playing a 2 flex spot. I'm not feeling overly great about my running backs. It's Dalvin Cook and Jordan Howard. I'm throwing darts at a board right now. I think that our conversation about Jerick McKinnon holds a lot of weight earlier in the sense that Jerick McKinnon was brought into an organization that wanted Jerick McKinnon. Tevin Coleman came because he failed in Atlanta without Kyle Shanahan.
And Kyle Shanahan took him back.
and Kyle Shanahan took him back. So I understand how well Tevin Coleman is, and this is no knock on him because I think he's an extremely talented running back, and I can see a very even split between Jerick McKinnon and Tevin Coleman. I'm just curious to see how it plays out, and that's why I take
Definitely
Jerick McKinnon.
something curious. We all agree on that one. I'm up. I got a little bit of time left on the pick after McKinnon went Carlos Hyde. Not a bad player to even think about way late in the 10th round is Carlos Hyde, someone that might overtake Damian Williams there. But I don't need running backs, so I'm not really upset about this. I have 5 on my team, 4 wide receivers. The string of quarterbacks we just mentioned went. There are no tight ends that I'm really interested in. I'm looking at somehow TJ Hawkinson, Austin Hooper, Delaney Walker, whatever. But the guy that I'm going to take is actually another wide receiver because I have 4 of them, but I've loved this guy since I first saw him. It was literally love at first sight for me. A couple of my team names in my leagues are, named after him, is Cortland Sutton. Not too happy about Joe Flacco at quarterback, but I got to say, you're looking at, regardless of Emmanuel Sanders' injury, you're looking at a guy that's going to be the red zone threat. They did draft another tight end. They do have another tight end in there that can, get red zone stuff. All tight ends are bigger, whatever. But Cortland Sutton's a go-up-and-get-it kind of guy. He's going to get touchdowns this year. I'm looking at double digits.
Cortland Sutton is Joe Flacco's guy. Like, Cortland Sutton is the definition of what Joe Flacco would want in a wide receiver. Yeah. You look at what he did at John Brown. You look at what he did with Steve. Joe Flacco wants to throw the ball 50 yards down the field. And Cortland Sutton acted as
an athletic
Denver's
freak.
deep threat.
Yep.
Cortland Sutton is the perfect wide receiver for Joe Flacco, in my opinion. I think Emmanuel Sanders is more talented. I think that Emmanuel
100%
Sanders.
not gonna argue
if you interchanged any quarterback,
even Deshaun
with those,
Hamilton,
right? Well, I think Cortland Sutton's very talented. So, like Deshaun, I mean,
he's a speed guy.
If you're listening to this, I apologize, but Cortland Sutton's better than him. I'm saying if you interchange any quarterback within the league for Denver, I think you'd see Sanders being favored, but Cortland Sutton's the perfect target for a Joe Flacco type, and I'm interested to see how it works. I like that pick.
10th round, nothing too bad to spare.
All right,
so Jameis Winston,
I'm up right now. And
my bounce back player, who you already dibbed yours.
Yeah, so I was kind of PO'd. That's pissed off. After Tom took Sutton, it went Winston and Ito Smith, and I really wanted Winston. I don't know how him and Cam lasted that long. He should be taking me for a Kyler Murray, like hands down.
Winston could
and
absolutely
Goff
be in
and
for
Rivers.
Bounce back.
I'm a homer, so I'm a big Patriots fan.
Ooh, what are you going to do with this?
Oh, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Tom Brady.
I'm gonna go Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, somehow Rob Gronkowski.
Did you see his picture? He's the next tight end up.
I know
in the rankings.
I know, but did you see his picture today? His picture came out, dude. He looks 50 pounds less. It's a thin Rob Gronkowski.
It's weird.
If you have not seen it, go look up Rob Gronkowski.
Right,
I'm gonna go look
him
up right now.
A few seconds left, so I'm going to go a player that's coming back on injury that has been very good for so many years. He's going very, very late in drafts. I'm taking Emmanuel Sanders.
The guy we just talked about. Great pick. Absolutely in the 10th round. That's someone that I feel like people should catch wind of, and it might move on.
What happened was I was hoping the QBs would drop to me because everyone else is a QB, but for some reason they picked two QBs so early.
Man. Yeah.
So after Sanders, it went Jalen Samuels, Deshaun Jackson, Tom Brady, Devin Singletary, Big Ben, Garoppolo, and now it's my turn. And this is the round where I kind of want a QB, and I think there's a lot of good QBs left. Like, there's a lot of QBs left that I really want, but I'm going to take Dak Prescott right now.
I'm very upset with you right now. I wanted Dak Prescott
was a
as
good
my
pick.
quarterback.
Yeah, Dak
That's definitely the
Prescott,
late round
Anthony
guy.
Miller, Marquez Valdez Scantling coming off the board. Kind of an interesting. We can talk about this as the draft goes on. I don't want to keep hammering home all these 11th round picks, but there has to be a second wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers, right? And is it Marquez Valdez Scantling? Is it Anekiwis?
It's a good bet.
I can't say his name. Is
Say
it
Brown?
Geronimo? Jake Kumaro, who was my dart throw of the week a couple times last year.
He was.
Well,
So interesting there.
So Craig's
Definitely.
up right now, and Craig,
Right.
what are you thinking?
well, I'm going to have to go quarterback. I definitely don't have one. I don't have a tight end either. I have a tight end in mind that I want to go later. I definitely don't want to miss out on any more quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, and Mitchell Trubisky are my thoughts.
Can I talk you off the ledge that most teams already have one, so you can probably know?
No,
Well,
I'm just
Tom,
going for one because
Look
at
what
this
happened
point,
right by my pick.
yeah, at this point,
Two
I'm not. I mean,
mistakes.
there's been multiple. Actually, I'm looking at right now 4 teams that have 2 quarterbacks. I don't have one. I want one. Just gonna go with it. Need a quarterback. This is fantasy football. I'm gonna go with a guy that has much more weapons than both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It's not Kirk Cousins, even though he has more weapons, but Mitchell Trubisky, I think, is going to have a
is it
pretty
Sam
good
Bradford?
year. Definitely not Sam
So-
Bradford, but Mitchell Trubisky, I think, is going to have. He's got a lot of
Tom,
players,
you
got a
should
lot of passing.
Thank
game.
Craig. Now you get to pick a better QB.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take Lamar Jackson here. I am torn. I like Mitch Trubisky. I like Mitch Trubisky.
QB9, Lamar Jackson, after he started.
Yeah, I don't trust the Ravens offense to
I disagree
withstand
completely.
He rushes.
Lamar Jackson.
So you don't know.
So running quarterbacks.
He will rush till
can-
week 3 until he get hurt.
I'm not banking on injury here. I'm drafting for what you've done in the past, right? And this is why I'm so high on Cooper Kupp, right? Like Cooper Kupp is hurt, he's recovering from an ACL, but what Cooper Kupp has shown us over the time is that when healthy, he is the best Rams wide receiver. Lamar Jackson is a very good quarterback. The fact that he rushes, he'll get you those points. I'm a big Mitch Trubisky fan, so I would have liked to take him here. But Lamar Jackson, you're really not gonna get. I mean, you're talking. I mean, talking a couple.
hairs.
You're talking a couple
Splitting hairs.
pepperoni slices off your pizza there. I mean, you ain't talking much.
I'm hungry.
You're getting about the same points, just one's
All
on
right,
the ground,
so
one's in
after
the air.
Lamar Jackson, it went QTA, James Washington, QTA, Damon Harris, Rob Gronkowski,
somehow.
Jay Ajayi. This is what is this mock?
Yeah, well, apparently people
Gronk,
think the people
Ajayi,
that are
and then
retired
TJ
and not playing.
Hawkinson.
I would like to keep the validity of this draft going on, but the fact that we have a guy who selected 5 RBs in the first round and then a quarterback and a tight end and then
Hey,
selected
Tom.
a third QB.
I have a
He
guy
had-
in
no,
one of
he
my
has
leagues
two.
that drafts RBs like crazy, so you never know.
Yeah, what a prick! And that guy right now
Tom,
is actually
you're
gonna.
up.
Yeah. So I'm up right now. So
saw
that
him
guy
once take
right now is actually
9.
going to double down on the San Francisco running back. I'm going to take Matt Breida here, and I'm going to take 2/3 of that backfield. I'm going to say Tevin Coleman, beat them out. How you
At
doing?
this point, we're at round 12. We have
It's a good
3
pick for you.
left. I don't have a tight end. Definitely want to grab one that I like. Last year, I drafted him in the 6th round, like most of all of us last year. And I'm going to pair him up with Mitch Trubisky. Trey Burton is a great tight end for the 12th round.
And then right after that it went Hooper and Craig Olsen.
Olsen. Yep, and Scotty, you're up.
All right. I need a tight end. Do I dare to take a tight end now?
No.
No.
I mean, at this
No
point,
tight end
There
strategy is very
no
interesting.
point. Right now, let's work on some.
Yeah, after
So
the 3.
If you are going
There's no tight
to
ends
look
left.
at we're talking half point PPR league, 2 flexes, look at a wide receiver, who is your rookie or sleeper wide receiver that
My
you can
rookie.
get in the 12th round? So I'm looking at Paris Campbell. I'm sitting here and I'm saying draft him. We've heard great things about Dante Moncrief. Devin Funchess is an enormous human being for Andrew Luck.
But I'd
Is
rather
any
wait
of
on
this-
all those guys. Funches is a player I'm looking at right now because I'm with you. He's in one of the best offenses this season, and you saw what he did in Carolina. He had great games,
And he's 6'5", 6'6".
and people think he's like 30 years old. He's like what, 24, 25.
He's very, very big. Very young, too. Very big. All right.
I like Devin Funchess. I think he's on a great offense. I can't really make too much of a comparison between him and Kelvin Benjamin, but Kelvin Benjamin turned into nothing after Carolina. But that might be because he went to Buffalo. But
So I'm going to
think
pick
Funchess is a big guy.
RB in this spot, just because I like a lot of wide receivers that are left. They can get a lot of people back. Makes sense. Half point PPR. I'm going with Nyheim Hines.
See, you dropped his name a couple times. Then right after Nyheim Hines goes Paris Campbell and Marquise Brown, Devin Funchess. We had a lot of Colts go. Delaney Walker, Alexander Madison, Tyrell Williams, and we are back to you, Scotty.
All right. So
can I follow up on the Nyheim Hines pick? I really love it. Love it absolutely.
me too.
I think that Marlon Mack might not make the full season, and I think
that's
that
a foolish take.
it doesn't matter. Nyheim Hines
You
is
are
definitely going to be
playing
the pass catching
scared
back.
if you
Greg, I feel like
feel
Hines
play for
isn't that
injury.
player. He's like Austin Eckler. He's not going to take over the downs.
No.
If
But
he
what
goes-
I'm saying is any receiving down whatsoever. I'm not saying that Marlon Mack is going to get injured. I'm just saying that Hines already has third down role, and if Mack is going to be out for any extended period of time, that there will be no other guy
All right,
taking
so
third
I'm-
down role for.
I'm going to pick right now.
Yeah.
I was looking at wide receivers, but I see an RB that I really, really like a lot. I'm going to take Mike Davis from the Bears because at this point right now, he is still the starter.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
So
Let's go. Let's go.
I don't hate the pick. Your comment about him being the starter
Tom,
cracks me up.
it's more that I want it to be.
So we have Kyle Rudolph, Deshaun Hamilton come off the board. Craig, you are up, sir. Half-point PPR. You are filling out your bench spots. 13th round.
Yeah, and these picks, I want everyone to understand, are going to be guys that are more than likely going to be taken off of your team within the first 3 weeks, or
I'm pretty
you
sure
can,
everybody
if you
understands
draft
that. I'm just saying.
Or
you're at an hour
you
and 15
can-
minutes.
or you can
Wait,
take
what
a
round
guy you know will be a answer by the first 3 weeks, whether he is going to be the starter or is not going to be the starter. Not someone that you're going to wait till week 7 to figure out. You need to figure out right away what you have in a player. There's not too many of them, but there is a good shot that Kalen Ballage is a guy that takes over Kenyon Drake's role, and you are going to find that out in the first 3 weeks. That is a pick that you want late in the draft.
So Kalen Ballage, a very good pick. Good take there.
Great pick.
I tend to disagree, but I think Kalen Ballage and that's a very good point, right? So there is a guy that can take over a starting job early in the season.
Yep.
And that's the guy you want to
That's
take.
who you want late in the
Kalen
draft.
Ballage is that guy that can do that. And then we have Dante Moncrief, who I feel is going to usurp James Washington for the number 2 role.
I don't see
And
why
I
you
am
don't.
now back on the clock. Excuse me, what was that?
No, I mean, I agree. I think he's going to be number 2 there.
Right. And I'm going to take a guy that is injury prone, a guy that is just, I feel like, flown under the radar. We're in the 13th round. I'm going to take Chris Thompson. You're talking about a spark plug for the Redskins offense. And we go Devontae Parker, Chris Thompson, Marquise Goodwin, Deion Lewis, Justice Hill, Jamal Williams. And we're coming back to me. I'm going to take Scotty's
the last
boy
pick.
crush, Giovanni Gio Bernard Funny story. We made a keg bet on that. I'm actually not. I'm not going to take.
We'll
it.
talk about that keg bet.
It could
but
have been a
I
Jersey bet,
didn't
but
lose.
I don't.
I didn't
What
lose.
You didn't win.
I didn't lose.
You didn't win.
Eddie Lacy lost.
Didn't win.
I still won, though.
So I'm gonna go running back here, and I am actually gonna take old man, never die Frank Gore, and after me goes Randall Cobb.
That's a
Craig,
very weird
you
pick by
are up.
Tom.
Craig,
you're up.
I really don't think it's a weird pick.
While Craig's picking, we'll
No
talk
one
about,
really honestly cares about Frank Gore.
While
anymore.
Craig's picking, we'll talk about this.
But do you care
Tom.
about LaShawn McCoy?
I
The
honestly
Bills
don't care about
obviously
LaShawn
don't.
McCoy.
And if the Bills cared,
I
enough
also
about-
don't care about the Bills.
Yeah, somebody has to run the football for the Bills, and that's my point. Is that they obviously
Allen.
don't
McCoy,
like
Singletary,
all right, okay,
Yeldon.
fine. Their franchise QB can run the ball all 215 times for the Buffalo Bills. That's a great GM move, Craig.
Yeah, I'm obviously not being serious. But what I'm saying is there's really not much out of Buffalo this year that you really should be looking for. My next pick is actually going to be something that I do quite often, something that a lot of people say that you shouldn't do.
Pick a
Last
defense.
year I took, I'm going to take a defense in a no
scoring.
defense league. Last year I took George Kittle in the last round. Seemed to work out pretty well. I have another tight end this year that I really like. He is another rookie. He is someone that I feel like is going to be someone that Joe Flacco is going to
Kittle
target a
wasn't a
lot.
rookie.
And that is Noah Fant. You'll see an article coming out about him later on.
So I need you to explain to me why you think that a rookie tight end as a number 2 tight end is an
Can I
important
ask
pick in the 14th round.
Why you picked him there, and you picked Trey Burton 2 rounds before that?
Well,
if you're that high on him.
I'm not saying that Noah Fant is going to come out of the gate and he's going to blow people away and he's going to be a top 3 tight end. I want to make sure that I have a tight end on my team that I know is going to be able to get some targets right away. There is a tight end ahead of Noah Fant. I think that's Jeff Harriman.
Font.
And who was the other one?
No, Font.
Oh, Font. I thought they were saying Jake Butt over there.
Jake Butt's
But
done.
yeah, there's really not many tight ends over there. But Joe Flacco loves tight ends. Noah Fant was coached by the same coach as Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. And
Good guy.
what's that? George Kittle. So there's plenty of reasons why I like Noah Fant. Again, article coming out later.
All right, so my very last pick in this draft.
Yeah, following
Great-
Traquan
great-
Smith and Malcolm Brown. Yep.
Great argument. I'm going to pick a tight end that Aaron Rodgers throws to. Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. How you doing? Yeah, Jimmy Graham, Jordan Reed, Dallas Goedert, and Raquel Armstead.
Jacksonville
close out our draft.
backup.
So very interesting draft. We are going to convert this over to a league real quick, and we are going to actually see how our drafts stack up for the end of the year.
And I think, I don't want it, but I think our best bet to start right now, Rams wide receivers. We all have different Rams wide receivers on our team.
Oh, you
I
did
w-
take Brandon Cooks there. I forgot
I
about
wish
that.
I had Cooper Kupp or Woods. But what's the bet?
What's the bet?
What's the bet?
Well, who finishes first? We owe each other a
It's
six
a,
pack.
it's a shock. It's a shotgun bet.
It's a
It's a
shotgun,
shotgun bet.
It's a shotgun bet.
Yeah, no,
I
the
say
whole
the
six-pack
winner
by itself,
Snapchats the losers
the two
shotgunning on the top shelf Snapchat.
Top
All right.
shelf
Is it
Snapchat.
per game or is it total?
Ooh, I like the per game.
Oh, because you're Cooper
Oh,
Kupp.
I like that. I like the per game. I like the per game, baby.
It's at the end of the year. It's total.
Total.
No,
It's
we're
gonna
gonna
be
do
total.
one shotgun.
No,
I can do
no.
17 of them.
Hey, no injury clause. We don't have Cooper Cup. I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, Cooper Cup can get hurt.
He can get
All
hurt.
right, so that's the bet.
So whoever
shotgun
finishes,
for Rams receivers.
So we have right now first bet of the season. This will be on our website at topshelffantasy.com. We will have a page where you can check out all of our bets as we do these live drafts. Who will be the better Rams wide receiver? Tom has Cooper Kupp. Craig has Robert Woods. Scotty has Brandon Cooks. Shotgun at the end of the year. No, you have to take the guy you drafted.
I know.
And you can follow us there. Follow us on Twitter at Top Shelf Fantasy, at Twitter something. Anyway,
I wonder what at Twitter something actually looks like. I've never.
Probably a bunch of dicks and boobs. So
There could be a lot of that.
It's probably way better than this. So
I mean, I don't know. I think we got something going here. Yeah.
All right, so we're signing off.
Top
until
Shelf
next
Fantasy.
week.
How you doing?
Yo,
Take it easy.
did it record?
Well, yeah.